you might regret not knowing about it beforehand. So let's dive right into it. So, number 1, falling behind on professions, things like skinning and mining or anything else. It's easy to not care about professions or fall behind accidentally, but in Season of Mastery, we're getting increased nodes. In the beta, I saw nodes stacking, meaning you could get a double node spawn right on top of each other. So if you usually skip mining or herbalism while leveling, Season of Mastery could be your chance to level it as you go. Even if not those professions, skinning is super easy to integrate into your leveling on your way to 60. But again, you can forget to level it and fall behind. Now, a good tip here to remember is the cutoffs for increasing your max skill so you don't fall behind. So it's 50 to learn Journeyman, 125 for Expert, and 200 for Artisan. That way you can line up when you're going to go back to a major city to learn your skills. You can also learn your profession, get it to the right level, and get that to the next step as you go and get your new skills. So moving on to mistake number 2 is forgetting to get dungeon quests. Now in Season of Mastery, not only do we get 40% more experience from quests, but an additional roughly 7% extra from group and dungeon quests. So getting all your dungeon quests is super important. Now the first step is of course knowing all the quests you can get. Now I literally just go to Wowhead and search the name of the dungeon, scroll down to the quests tab, and boom, it lists them all out. So make sure to do any prerequisites for these quests, grab them, and then go to the dungeon. This is probably the most common mistake I see in Classic. Almost all the time your group will love you for sharing the quests for the dungeon, if they are shareable of course, and the ones that aren't, well, that is their loss. That does happen occasionally. All right, now moving on to mistake number 3. Missing good quest items. So it's not always straightforward knowing what item may lie at the end of a long quest chain. Some are worth doing, some are totally not worth doing. There are some obvious great quest rewards like the Whirlwind Axe for warriors, but how do you know about the others? It's a good idea to know about your weapon progression. This is going to really help you, especially if you're a warrior, or your wand progression, especially if you're a priest. These are all very important things to know on your leveling journey. But even those aside, there are certain quest items that are so good that you'll want to make sure you do them, because unlike getting a drop off of a boss, which is chance based, quests will guarantee you 100% chance of getting that item. It's for that reason that getting great items from quests is a great idea to help make leveling easier. Things like Nifty Stopwatch to get that move speed bonus, or Skull of Impending Doom, same deal. Carrot on a Stick, you got to get Gazrilla. Might be hard to pull that one off, but again, getting Carrot on a Stick would be a really big thing for increasing, your mount speed getting around. Or even if you're Alliance, the rewards from the Defias Brotherhood quest chain, or the Wailing Caverns dungeon quest chain. There's a ton of really good blue items that you can get pretty early, and it's guaranteed as long as you can do that quest. Now there's so many more, so it doesn't hurt to do a little research here, see which zones and dungeons are really worth going out of your way for, that you can guarantee yourself a nice item. All right, let's move on to mistake number 4, doing quests out of order and forgetting to buy materials. I like this one because it's kind of just an easy gotcha. You kind of just forgot. So have you ever done a quest and then realized when you turned it in that while you were out doing that quest, you could have done another quest literally at the same time? I literally think we all have. It's like, it's the right of playing World of Warcraft. Like everyone goes through this at one point in their journey or later. So this time around is your chance to be a pro gamer and do all the quests in the best order possible. All right, try it one more time. So did you know, for example, that there is a horde quest called the Defense of Gromgal, where you need to kill 15 Lashtail Raptors. This is in Stranglethorn Vale. I'm sure you already knew this. But the second quest in the Raptor Mastery quest chain also has you killing literally 10 Lashtail Raptors. So if you have both quests at the same time, you are literally completing 2 quests at the same time as you kill raptors. That's getting 2 birds stoned with 1 rock. You know what I'm saying? I was thinking about putting together a video that outlines all these little tricks, so subscribe if you want more tips like this, because I think they're super helpful. Now, the other mistake people make related to quests is forgetting to buy the materials required for quests ahead of time. You can go to Splinter Tree Outpost, then you see you need a Deadly Blunderbuss, so then you go all the way back to Orgrimmar to go buy one off the auction house. Well, if you knew you needed this ahead of time, you could have saved yourself a trip, and that flight path is not short, of course. Now, buying materials for quests ahead of time, there are opportunities to do this, for example, with the Badlands quests, the Frost oil, the 9 blue pearls, the healing potion, lesser invisibility potion, and the pattern bronze bracers, as well as the gyrochronotom. These are all things that you just bring and turn in. It's a free quest, so if you can get those materials before you go to the Badlands, it's really worth doing. Now there are more things like this. I know there's one in of the Alliance area where there's actually a ton in the Alliance area you can just purchase off the auction house. So there's actually a list. I'm gonna post a list in the description of all the items that you can purchase and turn in for a quest, because there's actually a lot of them. Now, as an extra tip, I do recommend leveling with 1 skill in engineering. You'll get an extra turn in for the flash bomb recipe, which is the schematic flash bomb, which sells for a lot actually. Well, of course, depending on your server, so your mileage may vary. But you can only get this quest if you have at least 1 skill in engineering. And there is another scenario where this happens. So just having engineering while you level is kind of nice. If you're going to be one of those people who's like, I'm not doing trade skills, no matter what, I'm going to get to 60 first, go ahead and just pick up engineering, get it at 1 skill. It's going to actually help your leveling go even faster. All right, moving on to mistake number 5, which is not making a bank alt. Now this is a huge one. You're going to come across so many valuable items as you level, whether that's a trade skill material or rare equipment or weapons, and you won't want to be vendoring these. Inevitably, you're going to run out of bag space, probably pretty quickly. So instead of going back to the auction house all the time to list these items, instead make a bank alt and mail these items to them. This will be huge for making gold, which will be much needed in Season of Mastery. Now, if you played the beta, I did. If you didn't, basically, you're going to be leveling faster. You're going to have less gold. You're going to learn your skills faster. So basically, I think everyone's going to be strapped for cash. So maybe even auctioning these items, there we go, might not even be the best thing for you to do. Maybe this is a scenario where actually just vendoring like cloth or vendoring some of this stuff actually is the right thing to do. I don't know. It's to be seen. But there are certain items that you definitely will not want to vendor that might surprise you with how valuable they could possibly be. And I'm going to list out a few here for you. There's the Wicked Claw, which is needed for crafting Druid and Warrior Abyss helmets. There's the Large Fang, which is needed for crafting the Barbaric set and making Rage Potions. There's the Giant Egg, which is used in cooking skill quests for making the Monstrous Omelet. So in order to get your cooking to max, you have to get giant eggs. Long elegant feathers used for crafting the Admiral's hat. Of course, small flame sacks are super valuable for making fire protection potions, as well as cooking dragon breath chili. And of course, spider silk, used for tons of leatherworking and tailoring recipes. You got all the different elemental, earth, water, fire, and air, which are used for potions and gear. Elemental fire is needed for that greater fire protection potions. You better bet that's going to be valuable. And then there's fused wiring. This is my go-to for leveling, my go-to for getting my mount at 40. I remember just on my hunter, just in Stranglethorn Vale, killing the shredders. That is a great way to get fused wiring. Needed for lots of engineering crafting, especially repair bots, which are going to be used in all raids, so certainly going to have some demand there. Don't vendor those. So that is mistake number 5. Let's move on to mistake number 6. We have wasting gold on useless skills. Now this is huge for Season of Mastery. I think gold, once again, is going to be very, very hard to acquire in Season of Mastery, at least at first, at least initially. It's because we're going to be leveling so much faster in Season of Mastery with that 40% increased experience from quests, so naturally we're going to be learning our skills faster, and gold is going to be a serious issue, I believe, for many players, particularly, I think, warriors. So you need to be careful and only train skills you're going to use that are extremely useful as you're leveling in order to afford all of the important skills. So, for example, Mocking Blow for a warrior. I leveled a warrior. It's really not needed. I mean, it's basically a taunt while in battle stance. Do you really need that? I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're playing with 2 people and you don't want to have to switch stances to defensive stance and taunt. I don't know, but I personally wouldn't get Mocking Blow. Or Eagle Eye for a hunter. Do you really need to be able to cast a channeled ability to go see really far away? I don't know. Maybe there's someone out there who's like Eagle Eye Abyss, but personally I wouldn't get it. I don't think you really need that skill. Now, depending on your class, of course, we just talked about hunter and warrior, but there are some skills you really don't need to train, and by skipping those, you can save yourself a lot of gold. So be smart about training your skills. I think this is some good advice. Only train the abilities you really need and use often. All right, let's move on to number 7, not affording your mount at 40. Now, of course, we all want to afford our mount at 40. Some of us will be capable of doing this. Some of us will not. Now, for a lot of people, I think this is going to be a challenge, but if you're smart about gold, meaning you sell the valuable items that you find on the auction house, you only learn the skills you need, you weave trade skills into your leveling without slowing you down too much, such as going trade skills such as skinning and enchanting, and then affording your amount at 40 should be possible. Now, I say should be because in Season of Mastery, I can already tell you most people are going to be broke because of the faster leveling and training skills. I think it's going to really eat into their gold big time. So I predict most people will not have their mount right at level 40. But they don't call it Season of Mastery for no reason. If you're one of the few, the proud, who are able to afford your mount at level 40 immediately, this is going to be a huge differentiator. It's going to be a huge help for getting you all the way to 60. That 60% increased move speed is massive, especially in Classic where there is so much traveling involved. It will definitely speed up your leveling dramatically, and frankly, your quality of life just having that. So I think it's a great thing to go for. Now, something I should mention, if you're still deciding what class you want to play, is that Warlocks and Paladins get their level 40 mount for absolutely free. It's literally just a quest turn in to learn the skill. So consider that when choosing which class to play. Because of the virtually guaranteed gold shortage, at least at first, choosing a Warlock or a Paladin could be advantageous if you really want to get that mount at level 40 immediately. All right, let's go on to mistake number 8, forgetting to log out in an inn for rested experience. I know, this is a rookie mistake, it's basic, but really, let's be honest, the real mistake here is logging out. No, but all jokes aside, might seem obvious, but log out in a capital city or an inn to get your rested experience when you're not playing, whenever that may be. But many overlook this. You do also get rested experience while logged out outside of an inn or capital city, but it's accumulated much slower at a rate of exactly 1/4 as fast as if you were in an inn or capital city. So if you're not going to play for a few days, you decide, you're going to, some mythical scenario where you actually don't play for a few days, it's probably worth it to log out in a rested area. You can get up to 30 bubbles of rested experience max, which takes exactly 10 days to accumulate. If you want to make the most optimized use of your time, make a character, wait 10 days, play until rested is gone, go log out, rest for 10 days, rinse, repeat, right? And being rested is awesome because you get double XP from killing monsters while rested until the rested runs out. So use that rested XP bonus where you can. It's not necessarily needed, but if you know ahead of time you're not going to be able to log on to WoW for a little while, make the effort to log out in an inn or capital city. All right, we're moving on to the final tip today, which is rushing to 60. So that's it. The last mistake really is to avoid rushing to 60. For some people, that's their enjoyment. That's fine. They want to see how fast they can get to level 60. That's totally cool. But personally, I'd recommend you find what you enjoy in the game and enjoy it. You don't have to min-max. You can tame that crocolisk pet. You can go that weird spec you want to go because you think it's cool. You can level your trade skills, even if you're not leveling that fast. Nothing kills the enjoyment like wishing you were a higher level and just trying to push for it as fast as you can, Honestly, it takes time to get to max, and appreciating where you are in that journey is much more enjoyable to me than wishing you were at a different stage of that journey. So my final tip to you is take your time, have fun, enjoy the game, and that's all I got. Like and subscribe.